Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Gek014 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. The title did crack me up a little bit. It said, am I the arsehole for wishing my friend, 24 female, didn't follow my partner, 23 male, and I, 27 female, to live in a tropical island because she's making our time here a bit shit. So, I have this friend. Let's call her Amy. We've been friends for a couple of years through uni and work. She's fun and positive, and I considered her a good friend. To cut a long story short, I got offered a job teaching in the Pacific Islands as a teacher. Of course, I accepted the job and told my family and friends, including Amy. All my friends joked about coming too, and I always said, yes please, come too, knowing no one would. However, Amy took it literally, and then within the next hour, she had sent her CV out to a bunch of schools, including the one I got offered a job at, and then got a job there too. I was upset at first, and probably still am. This was a unique experience that I'd always dreamed of, and I kind of wanted to keep it for myself. Selfish as that sounds, but I worked my ass off and put myself out there for this job. Fast forward to now, and because the school pays for our accommodation, we three are living in a small apartment and me and Amy are working at the school. After 3 months here, instead of being a nice and fun friend, she now purposely excludes me from things she knows I would enjoy doing. Example, she's been playing my favorite sport without telling me, so I wouldn't try to join the team. She makes little digs at me constantly at home. She is super loud around the house and is always rushing around. She has a very intense energy to be around. My partner and I are super calm and quiet people. She's also rude and demanding to the principal at work, which is super embarrassing. Today after work, I was so tired and excited to go straight to bed for a nap, and I walked inside the house and she had a group of our colleagues around. They were all laughing, eating snacks and making mocktails. I got so upset that 1, I was so tired and I had to deal with people in my private space while feeling that. 2, I wasn't invited to the party. I went to my room, shut the door, and they all started whispering and laughing and ran upstairs. It breaks my heart that I essentially invited her to come with us and she's just making me upset or angry so much of the time. Am I being selfish or over the top? Am I the arsehole for wanting to tell her she needs to remember she followed us here, so she needs to start treating us with more respect? TLDR, a friend followed my boyfriend and I to a new country for a job and lives with us. Now she's making our time here a bit shit. I don't think OP's selfish at all. It's one thing to joke about, come with me or whatever, and then for someone to actually follow through with it to the exact same job and end up living with you? Fucking hell. And it almost feels like she's just being competitive at this point. And I'm not sure I would actually be considering Amy as a friend either. She sounds like someone who's just turned the whole thing, as I said, into a competition. And I'd be probably looking for other living arrangements. But a commenter says, not the arsehole. She just seems competitive and purposely leaving you out of things to make herself feel bigger. Leaving you out of sports teams she'd know you enjoy. Being condescending to you. Purposely not inviting you to parties in your own place. What the fuck? Another commenter says, everyone sucks here. You probably shouldn't have made the offer even in jest. But then at the same time, you made the comments lots of people make when they move or go on holiday, not expecting anyone to actually do it. However, she's the bigger arsehole for acting this way, excluding you in your own home. Very messy situation. Another commenter says, everyone sucks here. Don't make invitations you don't want people to accept. Don't be mad you're not invited to a party you don't want to go to. That said, Amy sounds like a nightmare. You should definitely try to find separate accommodations. Another one says, no one's an arsehole here. This just sounds like a messy situation. You shouldn't have told all your friends to come, but hindsight is 2020. It's understandable that you would want to have this experience be your experience and not Amy and your experience. Another one says, everyone sucks here. Don't offer shit if you're going to get upset when people take you up on it. And she's a bitch for not knowing how to act. And one more commenter says, not the arsehole. I was leaning towards everyone sucks here with your selfishness in the beginning. But you admit to it and had a good reason for it. My guess and hope is that you had a good genuine friend who didn't go full bitch after you moved far away with her. You might not have felt so selfish about it being your thing. I think if you really vibed with someone, you would have had a totally different response to them tagging along. They also would have probably made sure you weren't just joking when telling friends they should come. And there was loads of comments saying that everyone sucks here. And I was kind of blown away by them, if I'm being completely honest, because if a good friend said to me, oh yeah, I'm moving to another country, I've got a job there, etc. And they said, oh, you should come too. I wouldn't automatically start looking for jobs and thinking, I'm out of here. Even if it did sound like an amazing idea, and Amy can do what she wants, it's her life, all that good stuff. But even if it did sound like an amazing idea and you thought they were serious, I'd be still saying that actually sounds like that's amazing. Would you guys be okay if I seriously looked into it? Or something along those lines, especially as they're in the same profession, they end up living together and all this kind of stuff. I find that wild. So OP does come in with an update and says, so it's been 6 weeks since my last post and a lot has changed. The general consensus from people on here was that everyone sucked in the situation, and the best thing to do would be to find a new place. After the initial annoyance of realizing we'd have to find a new place, I contacted my employer to ask if my boyfriend and I could move to a new place since they pay for our accommodation, citing some unelaborated challenges as being a reason for moving. However, my boyfriend and I were away for a week when I sent the email. My employer ended up telling Amy we were wanting to move before we had the chance. I received a message from Amy and apologized for not telling her, and we spoke about it when we were back. My boyfriend and I didn't go into any detail with her about why we were leaving, due to the fact that we worked together, but also in past observations of her, she didn't take ownership for her behavior and can't admit when she's wrong. Now, my boyfriend and I are living on our own in a really nice, modern studio apartment that has sea views and we can hear the ocean from our room. So peaceful. I'm also now realizing our relationship was on the brink before we moved out on our own, due to my anger and lack of privacy. Now I'm the happiest I've been in our relationship. As well as since my original post a few weeks ago, I contacted a good friend / ex-flatmate of Amy with my concerns about her. This friend told me that she was treated in exactly the same way by Amy and feels mentally more positive knowing it is Amy who is the problem. Also, and that's the reason I posted this today, my boss came to me this afternoon and brought up a huge raft of concerns she's having about Amy as an employee. My boss said she's always in the office demanding things, she is pushy, expects a lot from them, isn't doing her job tasks properly and asked to leave work early because she apparently has no work to do, while the rest of us leave late trying to keep up with all the work. Since having some space and now speaking to other people about Amy, I'm now realizing she's not someone I can consider a true friend. However, I will remain polite to her while I still have to be around her still. Thanks to everyone who made me realize this wasn't a good situation to be in and suggested we move out. We are so much happier now. Commodore says, I'm so happy your relationship was able to get back on track. Bask in that happiness. Why on earth were you friends with her in the first place? Opie says, I'd only hung out with her for short amounts of time, and it was to go do fun things, so I guess I saw her only during the fun times. Lesson learned to get to know people better first before moving to a tropical island. That's for sure. When OP mentioned a boss talking about Amy and saying she wants to leave work early because she has no work to do, all that flashed into my head was a scene from the Kill Bill movie where Bud goes up to Larry, his boss, and says basically he's got no work to do, and he says, so you're saying the reason that you're not doing the job that I'm paying you to do is that you don't have a job to do. I just think, you bloody Burke, Amy. But yeah, absolutely the right choice to get out of that situation, move away from them. Sounds like they're living in luxury right now, right next to the sea, listening to the sea sounds. Oh, lovely stuff. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story has some trigger warnings on it, pretty heavy ones, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. The trigger warnings are emotional abuse and verbal abuse, victim blaming, car accident, death of a child, and possible mental health issues. Again, if you want to skip it, please feel free to do so. It's from user She Crossed the Line, who says, my 25 female mother made a rude comment about my SO's 26 male deceased brother, and I don't know how to move forward. Quick context. 2 years ago, boyfriend's younger brother tragically died in a motor vehicle accident at the age of 11. It was a really tough time. My boyfriend still hasn't gotten over it completely. He was a very caring older brother, and I know that he loved that kid as much as he loved me. A lot. His younger brother was in the car with his mum when it happened, and she rarely enforced the adornment of seatbelts in the car. My boyfriend doesn't blame his mum for what happened, but I suspect that my mother does. My mother usually has her heart in the right place, but she has a really big mouth. She doesn't really like my boyfriend because she thinks he's not emotionally equipped to be a father, whatever that means, so she can be pretty rude to him. We've had discussions about how she treats him in the past, and I've made it very clear to her that I want to marry this guy, but she still hasn't changed. My boyfriend and I came to visit my parents for the week since my dad is turning 64. This morning my mother and I got into an argument because she was still trying to baby me. She tried to correct my toothbrushing motions, even though I'm a full-fledged self-supporting adult. I guess she's bored or something. We all got into the car to go out for brunch when my mum told me my seatbelt was secured too loosely. My boyfriend smirked a little because he was there when I discussed babying to my mother, and she was not happy with his reaction. Whenever she feels belittled, she gets vicious, but she definitely went way too far this time. I don't remember what she said exactly, but it was something along the lines of, I care about the well-being of my children. Maybe if you or boyfriend's mother cared as much as I do, boyfriend's younger brother would still be here. Do you find negligence funny? Car went dead silent right after that. My dad noped the fuck out and my boyfriend just sat there in shock. I was furious at my mum, but I didn't know what to do, so I coarsely told her to get out of the car and go back inside the house. She refused, unsurprisingly, so I took my boyfriend, who was silent the entire time, to our own car and drove him to a hotel. I promised him he didn't have to spend the rest of our trip at their house. He hasn't said much since the incident, but I can tell he's very upset with my mother. He has issues with opening up and sharing his grief, so I'm very worried that what my mother said re-triggered the depression he went through immediately following his younger brother's death. Any ideas regarding how I should handle this? I'm unbelievably mad at my mother right now, but I don't even know what I can do about it. My dad is trying to stay uninvolved, which makes me mad at him too. My boyfriend has been watching soccer all day and he doesn't want to talk about what my mum said, so I'm very concerned about him as well. TLDR, mum crossed a line and said very hurtful things to my boyfriend. I have no idea how I should proceed. Update. I spoke with my dad and he agreed to pack up our stuff and bring it to our hotel. My SO and I will be leaving tonight. I've not spoken with my mother since leaving and I don't intend to. My SO is still visibly upset, but I know he's happy that we're going home. Hopefully I can figure out a way to make this up to him. She's been rude with him in the past and I should have put my foot down well before this point. Now there was two sides to this for me, that to an extent OP did the right thing in that moment by getting her boyfriend out of the car and away from the mother. But the fact that OP said, and this is the other side for me, that she's always been rude to him and has repeatedly questioned whether he's emotionally equipped to be a father suggests that this wasn't just a one-off. And it's like we see in many of these stories, at some point protecting your partner means doing more than just saying, that's how my mum is. It means there has to be consequences. If someone continually disrespects your partner and you keep bringing them around anyway, you're effectively asking your partner to just tolerate it, which isn't fair. The dad absolutely failed in this situation because he just stayed silent in the moment. I wouldn't say OP is quite the same as that because she did intervene, but she also admits that this pattern has been going on for a while. What the mum said in this was absolutely fucking vile. And if I was OP's partner in this, I would never be around her again. Just as simple as that. Ellen says to the OP, first of all, you both need to go home. He doesn't just not need to spend the rest of your trip at their house. The trip is over. Period. Your mother's actions were so far below the belt, so vile and uncalled for, that even if she apologized straight away, your boyfriend would be well within his rights to never want to see her face again. Instead, she's convinced she's in the right here and your father is enabling her. Let's face facts here. Your mother wants your boyfriend out of your life and will literally stop at nothing to hurt him. You have a clear choice here. Either you enable your mum because it's just the way she is and she won't change, so she knows she gets away with trampling all over your boyfriend. Or you want to salvage your relationship with your boyfriend, in which case you need to send a very clear message that you're on his side. You cannot let this slide. If mum would not apologize in a million years, then that means end of contact. Another commenter says you need to grow some ovaries and have a chat with your dad, as your mum will be a stone wall. Explain that while you love them, you cannot be around such an immature and toxic environment, and that they are currently unwelcome in your life. Another commenter says your mum is a disgusting human being. The trip is over. Done. Leave. Go home. Show her that a comment like that absolutely will not stand. Maybe shoot your dad a text or a short call after you've already left. Don't even give her a chance to argue or to try and guilt you. Don't make your boyfriend sit in a hotel for the rest of the trip while you spend time with them, and do not allow your mother around him until she has an apology prepared. And if she won't apologize, cold shoulder her, cut her out. Eventually, if she's half decent in any way, she'll fully comprehend that she needs to at least be civil towards your boyfriend and respect of your relationship. I can't see a way of coming back from that, even if she did apologize or whatever. Can you see a way of coming back from that? It's just such an awful thing to say that I'd never be able to look at someone the same way again. I don't know, how do you feel about that? But one more comment who says your mum is horrid and your dad enables her. Now to the issue at hand. You made the right call in the moment by supporting your boyfriend. From here on, I vote you tell your mother that until or unless she offers a sincere apology to your boyfriend, you're not going to have anything to do with her. She's being vicious and you don't need to be around that. Now it's up to her to choose what's more important to her, her spite or having you in her life. If she chooses her spite over you, then you're better off without her. If she apologizes sincerely, then you talk with your boyfriend about what kind of contact he's comfortable having with her. Any further negative remarks she makes about him get immediately shut down by you saying something like, X is my boyfriend and I'm not going to listen to you making mean remarks about him, followed by you ending the interaction, hanging up the phone, ending the visit early, etc. You've got to make it clear with your mum that she only gets to spend time with you when she behaves appropriately. Your best leverage here is yourself and your presence. Don't put up with cruelty, not from anyone, and what your mum did was cruel. So Opie comes in with her first update and says, my mother is unbelievable. I'm not sure if she is a narcissist, but she is most definitely a bitch. On Thursday, I called my father and asked him to bring us our stuff to a hotel so we could begin the 3-hour drive back home. When he arrived at our hotel, he apologized profusely to my boyfriend for what my mother said, and they both shook hands and agreed to move on. I think my dad sort of wanted to stay, but I knew any type of interaction with my father would involve my mother as well, and I'm not going to let that happen for obvious reasons. Ended things on amicable terms with my father because I don't think it's fair to blame him for what my mother said. He's probably enabling her, but he promised me he would talk to her about making steps towards fixing things. That being said, I'm pretty sure my mother won't change her mind anytime soon. I asked my father privately about my mother's reaction to everything, and he told me that she was very disappointed in me for making this trip about me and my relationship. Apparently, she doesn't want to talk to me until I apologize to her. Who says what she says and then demands an apology? I'm especially hurt about everything because she did all of this right after I finished expressing my excitement to her because I discovered something that led me to believe my boyfriend was planning on proposing to me soon. She knows that I love him more than anything else in the world, and she still paid no attention to his feelings, and my feelings by extension. She doesn't have to love him, but she'd at least care about him, merely because he's important to me. Is that too much to ask from my own mother? On the car ride home, I tried to cheer my boyfriend up by asking him about the soccer and tennis games he was watching because he likes it when I take an interest in his hobbies. Usually he will happily explain everything to me. This time he barely said anything, so I decided to give him some space, and I ended up replying to a few comments on here and reading some articles about narcissism. When we got home, he seemed much more at peace with what happened, so I was hoping that we could just put my mother behind us and move past this. Yeah, my mother demanding an apology isn't the unbelievable part of last night. Our home phone had a voicemail from my boyfriend's dad asking us to call him. My mother actually called my boyfriend's parents to question their parenting directly. My God, who does that? This is far beyond what I thought my mother would ever be capable of. I'm so disgusted by all of this, I don't even know what my mother said to them specifically. My boyfriend's mum won't get on the phone with us, but his dad said that she's been sobbing non-stop. I feel sick to my stomach about everything, but I don't know what to do. My mum won't reply to my messages or my calls because she's still waiting for an apology, and my poor dad is caught in the middle of everything during his birthday weekend. My boyfriend, someone who's traditionally very agreeable and calm, is livid. He told me he wants her out of his life completely, and I agreed with him, but I'm not sure she'll let us just cut her out of our lives without trying to hurt us even more. His parents live on the other side of the country, so he feels completely helpless. It's like my mother erased all of our therapy sessions and counseling in one day just because she was unhappy with how my boyfriend reacted to her ridiculous behavior. Yesterday was pretty uneventful. My boyfriend and I just hung out for the majority of the day. Neither of our mothers has spoken to us. For the record, my mother did not raise me to be this way. I was very close to her when I was younger, and while we did drift a little bit after college, I still frequently confided in her. I always knew she had a big mouth, but her current actions are just hateful. She can't plead obliviousness. She's deliberately trying to hurt people I care about. I don't know what's happened to her, but that woman is not my mother, and I don't care if I ever speak to her again. The top commenter on this one said to OP, she's moved beyond toxic to psychologically dangerous. Your boyfriend's parents should consider either blocking her phone or changing their number. You and your boyfriend should do the same. She burned down your relationship and salted the earth, all to prove her insane point that she deserved an apology. You owe her nothing. All that's important here is that your boyfriend's pain and the pain of his family. Cut her off and don't look back. If you think her behavior will stop here, imagine when you have kids. What if she decides your parenting doesn't meet her standards? Who knows what she's capable of? She may be your mother, but that doesn't give her the right to destroy lives. Go no contact and stick to it. Reiterate your unwavering support to your boyfriend and his parents, and get some more counseling to help you achieve a no-mum future. Good luck. I mean, the mum sounds absolutely unhinged in this, but it got to the point where it says, I finished expressing my excitement to her because I discovered something that led me to believe my boyfriend was planning on proposing to me soon. And I thought, this is what tipped her over the edge here. She's trying to go full nuclear. I mean, it sounds like from what we've been reading here, she's never liked him anyway, so this might have tipped her over the edge. Not that it gives any excuse to it, because her behavior is absolutely vile, and I agree. If you want to stay with your boyfriend, no contact is the only way forward here. She isn't going to stop. She's an awful human for what she said. But OP does come in with another update and says, sorry if this update is all over the place. I'm still trying to absorb everything that has happened. I hope that writing it all out will help. There are some aspects of the past couple of days that I don't want to write about, even anonymously, so please bear in mind that there will be some details missing. After I replied to a few comments on my last post, I read some articles about narcissism and enabling narcissism. It's impossible for me to maintain a healthy relationship with my father without a drastic change in a relationship with my mother. Hopefully someone on here can empathize with the pain that causes me. Knowing that you love someone so much but forcing yourself to remove that person from your life because you fully comprehend that the contact between the two of you is inappropriate. I suspect some people will find faults with my decision to go no contact with my father, and I welcome your criticism. Just know that it was not a decision I made easily. I've always been a daddy's little girl. When I was young, I used to fantasize that my father and my Prince Charming would become best friends. Knowing that it's very likely my father will not be walking me down the aisle cuts my heart like a knife. I called him up to talk to him about my decision on Saturday, while my boyfriend was privately Skyping with his parents. He told me he was happy to hear from me, and he explained that my mother was going through our family photos to throw away pictures of me. He saved all the pictures, but he did not stop her from throwing them out in the first place. I asked him if he repeated anything from our last phone call to my mother. He did. I asked him if he could promise me that would stop. He could not. I started sobbing and I told him that I could not keep him in my life while he was still enabling my mother's behavior. He joined me in crying and repeatedly begged me to make it up with my mum. I explained to him very clearly that would not happen under the current circumstances, and we both sat silently on the phone for what felt like an hour. He broke the silence by telling me that he was proud of me and that he loved me more than anything in the world. That only made me cry more. I guess my boyfriend heard me sobbing because he walked into the room, hugged me, and asked me who I was on the phone with. Eventually, he asked me to speak with my father, and after their conversation, my boyfriend asked me if I sincerely believed that I'd cut my father out of my life. I explained to him that we would never be able to move past this while I was still in contact with someone that allowed my mother to continue her hateful actions. My boyfriend accepted my response and reminded me that it was my decision to make, and he did not want me to feel like he was pressuring me to sever or maintain my relationship with my father. I called my dad 3 to 4 times a week, so he knows how close I was with him and how much love we have for each other. He knows this wasn't an easy decision for me to make. I finished the call with my dad by telling him that he needed to get my mother help and he needed to put his foot down to let her know that her current actions are not okay. He understood and promised me that he would do whatever it takes to get me back into his life, including a divorce if my mother continues her refusal to work on herself. But right now he wants to keep pushing to get my mother help because he loves her. I admire and respect my father a lot, even if I don't fully admire and respect the things he's done this past week. Despite everything my mother has done to me, my boyfriend's family, and even him, he is still loyal to her. Enabling her certainly isn't something he should be proud of, but I admire his devotion to his wife. A lot of people tell me that I'm fiercely loyal to my loved ones, and I'm very proud that I learned that from him. I hope he keeps his promise and finds his way back into my life, but I know I should not count on it. After my phone call, my boyfriend and I had a serious discussion about everything that's happened. I don't know how, especially after he embraced me half an hour earlier while I was crying, but I convinced myself that he was going to leave me. I had to work so hard to hold back tears as he spoke because I thought I knew that this would be our last conversation as a couple. I'm well aware of the fact that I am the sole reason he has to deal with all of this, and to be frank, I feel responsible. If I wasn't in his life, his family would have not gone through this awful experience. But instead of breaking up with me, he asked me to tell him how I was feeling about everything and how I need him to support me. I told my beautiful boyfriend everything. I asked him the same question and he told me everything. He also suggested that I begin meeting regularly with his therapist, at least for now, and I accepted wholeheartedly. The only positive aspect of pain is having your best friend support you through it. After our talk, he wanted to think about everything in quiet, but he asked me to sit with him. We sat together and said nothing for hours. He didn't want to cuddle and he didn't even look at me for the majority of the silence. He just asked me to be with him. I tried to think about this entire situation some more, but instead, I just thought about how much love I have for my boyfriend. Eventually, he began to talk about his brother. We shared familiar stories with each other and cherished them as if they were new. We both celebrated his brother's beautiful life together, but it wasn't sad or depressing. It was very pleasant. I was troubled when he started talking about things he could have done differently. Obviously, I immediately explained that nothing about the loss was his fault, but I'm not sure he believes that the awful things my mother said are untrue. It's bothering me a lot, and I've already told his therapist about this. His therapist offered some responses I can use if my boyfriend brings up this awful thought again, but I'm curious about how Reddit thinks I should reply. Maybe I've done some things wrong as a girlfriend. Please point them out, but I'm doing my best to be the woman he deserves. Thanks to the suggestions of Reddit, I offered to Skype with my boyfriend's parents to express my grief and offer my support to them. It went very well. His parents were lovely, as always, and it pains me to know that these innocent, kind people have to experience this much heartbreak in their lifetimes. I explained to them how much my heart aches for them and I have cut off contact with my parents completely. They told me that they loved me very much and that they would lend an ear if I ever needed guidance. Who'd want to hurt people like that? It's not fair that these beautiful people have to suffer through this. I would not wish this pain on the most definitely evil people in the world. I wrote my mother a very long email explaining why I would no longer be speaking to her or my father. I detailed how her actions hurt me and people that I loved. I explained how betrayed I felt. I told her that she was not acting like the mother that raised me to live virtuously. I asked her to get help. I told her that if she didn't want to do it for me or herself, she needed to do it for my father. Even a person that has acted as selfishly as her has to feel an emotional obligation to please the one person standing by them, right? I admitted to her that I still loved her and my father. I admitted that I would love them unconditionally. There is nothing I can do to change that. But I also explained that I could not sit by and watch my mother destroy herself like this, and I could not idly watch her hurt the people I love unconditionally. Perhaps that gave her ammo. Looking back, I feel like my profession of love to her was unnecessary, but I don't regret telling her that. It's the truth. She replied almost immediately, and I could not stop myself from reading her reply, mostly because she had replied at all, despite me not apologizing for anything in the email. I was foolishly hopeful that she finally understood everything. Instead, she tells me that she is disgusted that I'm entertaining my father's notion to get her evaluated medically and mentally. She says that we're the ones that need the evaluations. She writes that I'm a fool for abandoning my family for a man I met at a bar. She finishes by telling me that I'm not the daughter she raised and she will never be able to forgive me for making my father cry because I selfishly want to spend more time with my boyfriend. I cried after I read her letter. Not because her words hurt me, but because it's painfully clear that there is something wrong with her. But she's too hurt, scared, or hateful to let us help her. I'm grieving the loss of my mother because I'm afraid I will never see her again. Things are bad now, but I'm very optimistic about my future. I know that any of my boyfriend's possible plans to propose are delayed at best, but I don't think my mother has succeeded in destroying our future family. Thank you so much for all your support. I do not think I'll update again, and if I do, it won't be for a while. But I will try to reply to as many comments as possible. The overwhelming love and support I've discovered in this community delighted me, and I'm grateful for all the advice and kind thoughts you have shared with me. To all the parents that shared their stories about the loss of their children with me, my heart aches for you. You're a wonderful person for using your story to help others. I wish I could hug you. I'm sorry this was so long. Writing some of this out has been therapeutic for me, and hopefully I haven't upset too many people with this. I was distressed to read that my post brought up painful memories for members of this community. You have no idea how much my heart aches for you. The update made me feel sad in some ways, because clearly the dad loves her, but sometimes that love isn't enough, especially when you're constantly enabling someone who is hurting everyone else around them. You know, he literally watched her mother throw away photos of her and admitted he couldn't stop sharing information with his wife who was hurting them, so that's why he ended up with no contact too. And whether there's something else going on with the mum or not, if she's not going to help herself in the end and she's not going to get that help, you're not left with very many choices. And of course, it's going to be incredibly difficult for OP because, like they said, no matter what's happened, there is love there, and it's always easy for me to say no contact or whatever. But when you're dealing with it, it's going to be difficult. But I think it's the right thing that needs to happen in the end, because she's not going to change. She's going to continue to hurt people around you. Father's going to keep enabling it until he makes a choice. So what are you left with apart from the choice that you have made? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.